You're in charge.
Oh, I'm in charge. Alrighty. Let me clear my throat because I just got cinnamon in my tonsil. Excuse me. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Emily with Telltale, and I'm here with my husband Joe and Greg, whom you all know, and we are going to be discussing whose coffee is that yours? Anyway, we're going to be discussing the stuff that we have been reading in the last week or so, and some upcoming stuff for Telltale real quick. So we're hanging out over here at the local coffee bar. Words are hard. And yeah.
What is this place called?
This is the Red Bank Coffee House at Two Rivers, Wisconsin. It's housed in the historic Schrader building.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool spot, so we like it here.
I've never been in this building before.
Do you like your coffee at least?
Yeah, it's good.
Good. That's what matters, as long as you like the product. I like the atmosphere and the product, so I just sucked down this chai charger because I was very undercaffeinated this morning because we ran out of coffee at home.
Me too. I was up too late chatting.
Tragedy of tragedies. Not enough sleep. But yeah. So now we're getting caffeinated and going to town here. So everybody reading.
I go first?
I mean, if you want.
Well, the most recent books I've read, in a video we're posting on Tuesday, I'm mentioning The Maidens by Alex Michaelides.
Yeah. Some really cool Greek last name.
Yeah. It was a mystery book. It was very good, very fun to read, very easy and fast read, man. I blazed through that book like an amount of time I've never done before. I'm not a fast reader, and that one just 3 days and I was done with it.
Awesome.
300 and some page book.
Yeah.
So, I've mentioned in the other video, it's not for you because you hate mysteries.
I can't read mysteries. They're too easy. I figure it out too fast. And then I'm like, oh, I called that. And then I just get bored the latter half of the book. So yeah.
So the rest of us of average intelligence have to try and figure these things out.
I'm not saying I have more intelligence. I'm just really good at problem solving and puzzling things together. Like puzzles are a big, my brain works for puzzles.
There's a specific formula to writing a good mystery and you have it down to a T.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I kind of just know the tropes well enough and people just use them so frequently.
But then why wouldn't an author today purposely go against those tropes that you can't figure out?
Exactly. That's how I feel. Like, I feel like it's all more of the same.
Well, that's actually one reason why I'd say, as far as mysteries are concerned, you might want to think about reading more Agatha Christie. She breaks the trope a lot.
Okay.
I feel like she was the one who set the tropes, but okay.
She set them and she broke them.
Okay. I'll give it a whirl.
Actually, I would say Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was the guy who really set the trope.
Yeah, with Sherlock Holmes, although there were tons of other people writing detective fiction at that time. They just didn't become famous. I guess they're not as good.
Well,
he was in the public eye a lot too because he was such a spiritualist, like openly spiritualist during his time as well. So I think that part kind of fed into Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's fame and stuff.
Yeah, but Sherlock Holmes is probably just a more engaging character than all the rest of them that were written back then.
Yeah, he was certainly interesting. Very interesting character. But yeah.
So there was that one. And I didn't figure out who did it because if I wrote a mystery novel, I would do like I said. I would purposely have a character in there that no one would think would commit a murder. Just a minor background character who's a nice person.
Yeah, the last person anybody suspected.
He's doing nothing but helping people and nothing bad or evil sounding about this person. He has no axe to grind or anything. That's who I would in the end reveal to be the killer.
See, that's not what I would do to make a good mystery. What I would actually do is I would create the old trope of the unreliable narrator where it turns out there is no grand mystery and there is no grand conspiracy, just a hero with too much imagination.
That would be a good one.
Although I know how people would be like, what? That's it? That's how the book ends?
I do like ambiguous endings, though.
It would be.
Yeah, Shutter Island.
Which was, I only saw the movie. I'm assuming there's a book of it.
Yeah, I've read the book, and the movie is very close. Like they added in a few details that the author, well, he didn't miss it because, you know, film is a completely different narrative than books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there's a few extra things that Martin Scorsese put in there that the author thought was just genius. I know that he really liked the movie.
Oh, that's
So.
unusual.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't
but-
hear about authors really liking the movies that their books are.
Yeah, most of the time they come out and say it was crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because it wasn't like their book.
yeah. Seriously.
Stephen King's a good one for that.
Yeah. Indeed.
But yeah, I loved Shutter Island, and that one did exactly like you were saying. Well, maybe not exactly, but close to what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really like the trope of the unreliable narrator.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's makes it more of a head game, and I
Yeah.
think that's what I appreciate. I tend to like psychological thrillers more than like mysteries and stuff, because I feel like the psychological thriller has more head game stuff going on. It's more thought provoking.
Yeah, but that makes it a mystery because you're confused through most of the novel what's going on, right?
I mean, I'm not confused. I just see that there's many potentials.
Something like Seven? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
I don't
well,
think-
like
I don't think
Shutter
so.
Island was one of those, or like
Did you see Seven?
no.
You've
No.
never seen Seven.
Oh, we did show her Clockwork Orange last night, though.
Which
So
one?
Clockwork
Clockwork
Orange
Oh, really? You
and
never saw
American
that one?
Psycho. Never seen
Okay.
them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't seen American Psycho. Clockwork Orange, of course, is Kubrick. I've seen everything
Yeah.
he's done.
Yeah, yeah. I saw that for the first time last night. So, but it's not about movies. It's about books.
Yeah, there's some more books.
I know.
I want to read Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, I really want to read it too. I feel like I think I had read it, and it's just been so long. Because it felt like a very familiar story, but it is such a part of pop culture. It's hard to tell if like I actually read it or if it was just something I was so influenced by pop culture and my like peer group by that I felt like I had read it.
Well, it's a story. It's a story that actually has influenced pop culture so
Yeah.
greatly. Like not just, I'm not even talking about the movie. I'm talking about like when the book came out.
Yeah, I know.
Because it was inspired by an actual crime, I think, that Henry Burgess witnessed.
Interesting.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
I think it was, like, don't quote me on that, but yeah. that's-
Well, we're quoting you because it's being recorded.
Okay.
It's gonna be all.
Yeah,
whoa.
people are going to, all your haters are going to come out of the woodwork.
All 20 people who watch this video are gonna know about it.
We're going to get more, it's fine. Those 20 people, you are worth it, my friends.
Yeah, that's why we keep saying we're doing this. But
Yeah.
we'd like more people to join us.
Yeah.
with this.
Regress to your friends. Anyway, done with our shameless plugs. What else have you been reading?
The other two I read in the past week were a couple of H.G. Wells. One was Sea Lady.
Yeah.
Buddy read that with Samantha. Interesting book. The other one was a little, it was just a lecture that H.G. Wells gave called The Discovery of the Future.
Ah.
And for whatever reason, probably because he could, because he was famous, he published it as a book.
Nice.
61 pages, but with like 14-point type.
Mhm.
And nice
That's
things,
kind
so
of what his
it's a
book,
really short one.
Socialism in the Family was. It was like a bunch of like little pamphlets that he just
Yeah.
turned into a small book
Mhm.
that was also like 14-point font, you know.
Yeah, and it wasn't
Written in headers.
groundbreaking today, but in his day, it probably was kind of a new idea that in the past people didn't really look to the future. They
Yeah.
didn't think about the future. They assumed the future was going to be like today.
Yeah.
But after the 1800s, by the time Wells was writing,
Yeah.
we had a situation where changes had happened so quickly that now people could think about the future and maybe even develop sciences that could somewhat predict the future. And he rightly nailed it on the head that science would be a more statistical prediction than an accurate prediction,
Yeah.
especially with meteorology. You know,
Yeah.
He was saying that back then.
A lot of solid guesstimations.
So it was an interesting little lecture, but nothing I would say people should run out and find and buy. Though I didn't get a first edition. It was originally published in 1902. What I found was a U.S. edition that had been published in 1913. But I got it for like $5
Yeah.
off of a used book site.
Yeah.
They're really cheap to get if anybody's interested. But it's only for the Wells completist, really.
Yeah, anybody who really likes H.G. Wells.
The Sea Lady was a lot better.
Yeah.
It's about a mermaid.
Mermaid.
It's kind of comedy, but Wells always takes things to a much higher level than just simple slapstick.
Yeah.
He
He
had
had morals.
Well, he had a whole philosophical idea about. It was actually tied into thoughts about socialism and developing a world state. Although he didn't actually say that, that's what was on his mind. And if you read a lot of his other articles, I had an annotated edition that I read. A lot of his other articles at that time, he was talking about becoming a world state. Now, the interesting thing is, I've always thought Wells was for that and was an optimist about the future. But this book, well, Samantha was arguing with me. It's not a mermaid because mermaids are nice. Sirens are the ones that take you to your death, and that's what happens in this book.
See, I've heard it both. I heard that mermaids and sirens were the same thing.
I've always thought that too. Well, sirens did lure Ulysses onto. Tried to lure Ulysses onto the rocks and kill his whole crew.
Yeah.
And then Circe was a siren who held him captive for years.
Yeah.
And so they're not nice people.
Yeah.
But the what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like the moral of the story of sirens luring men to their deaths is that it kind of stands in for our dreams. That our dreams take us away from our everyday reality, and so we're not taking care of our lives. We're living in a dream world.
We're
and
using
destroying
escapism.
our lives. And Wells was apparently drawing a comparison between how the siren would lure the man looking for something greater than his everyday reality to his death, with the idea of utopian dreams leading us to totalitarian societies.
Yeah.
So in this book, he's kind of revealing that while he believed that this utopian state would come about, he believed it was going to be bad for us. That it was going to cause a lot of problems and destroy us.
Yeah. It was going to be more problem than paradise.
Right.
Okay.
Which, if you just look at the surface of what happened with Russia, and Mussolini and Italy, the Nazis in Germany, it did go bad. But
He lived to see most of those governments rise in power. So.
And, well, of course, he lived to see the Nazis and the Italian fascists fall as well.
Yep.
But he wrote this book in 1902 before any of that had happened yet, when all this stuff was still just theory.
Yeah.
And he was looking forward to seeing that these things are.
Yeah, he's like, I can predict this happening. This doesn't seem that unusual. I think a lot of people now have that kind of doomsday attitude that they're always looking for it now, because you had these people who in the past kind of saw them happening and wrote these books beforehand, and now I feel like we have like this post-apocalyptic doomsday attitude that everybody has, where they're all now trying to make it
Science, because we've seen how science can be used to cause destructive things like 3 Mile Island or Chernobyl or what's that town where they were dumping chemicals and all the people were getting cancer?
Oh, what was that?
New York, I think it was back in the 70s. That
Yeah.
was a big deal.
I vaguely remember that one. So when you're talking about the negative side effects of science, one of the first things that popped up was Japan's Unit 731.
Yeah, spreading. Well, and some people theorize that COVID is that sort of thing. I don't believe that, but
everybody, it's
possible.
innately human to be fearful of those things, I think, in general. Just things they don't understand, I think people are fearful of, and they're looking for answers, and there's a lot of biased information out there or conspiracy theory things, and those are easy to cling on to because they really dumb it down because of their lack of understanding as well. and it becomes one of those issues where is it conspiracy theory or not?
Mhm.
So people get confused and even more fearful because they don't know.
Right. And well, the reality is science is just a tool.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge is just a tool.
Yeah.
These things are just facts,
Mhm.
and we're discovering them.
Yeah.
And then we're using them to whatever
Yeah.
ends we want. And it's,
And who doesn't have an agenda?
well,
To some
it
degree.
could all be used for good. I mean, like medical
Yeah.
medical technology has mostly been used for good.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have people who are selfish, self-centered, looking out for themselves and wanting to
Yeah.
build an empire for themselves that are
Mhm.
utilizing these tools to create things that are hurting a lot of other people.
Yeah.
And so you have companies dumping dangerous chemicals into local groundwater.
Yeah.
And the only way to put a stop to that is through the government setting strict regulations and sending people around to constantly watchdog and keep corporations from becoming that selfish.
Mhm.
It's kind of the inherent problem with capitalism, really, is
Yeah.
it's all for me and screw you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually kind of in writing to something that I recently read. Well, actually, it was not that I recently read it, but I recently picked it back up off the bookshelf and took a quick glance at it, because I think I might read it through again. As controversial as this is going to be, Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto. Because I am not a communist, and I don't know any. But what's really interesting about the book is that I would actually encourage even the most strenuous capitalists out there to read it, because there's actually a lot of good ideas that we could even learn from today. Like one of the most inherent lessons that Karl Marx put in there was that industrialization made work a dispassionate thing. And he said that people need to regain a kind of a passion for what it is they do to earn a living, to create better productivity. And he saw that industrialization was actually dehumanizing that. And it's like, that is not the ranting of some angry teenager who hates the world and everybody in it. This is actually some really good, solid thought.
We actually are seeing that right now as designers. There's this, kind of conversation where employees want to be part of something bigger, and that's becoming part of branding for corporations now that are new and up and coming, or like small businesses, where if you have employees that want to be part of something bigger, you must be something bigger. And that requires you to invest a lot in doing good stuff, in being charitable, in investing in your employees in ways that have not been done before in order to be a successful corporation, including giving them higher paying wages than your competitors and things like that, and just perpetuating this idea. And all of that goes to boost the economy too. That is a greater good that we have to keep in mind as a capitalist society. And I just think it's so interesting that people are so slow on this uptake. Corporations, I think a lot of it is just they've been able to manage a certain way for so long that the idea of changing how things are managed is very scary. It means potentially being, closing your doors as a company because you've been just keeping the status quo,
Well,
bare minimum.
we saw that where we worked. That there wasn't any innovation.
No.
What they did is they
More
went
of the
to
same.
a trade show and they shopped the China
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah, they
for
basically shop
whatever
the
China has innovated,
Yeah.
which they're simultaneously selling to all the competitors.
Yep, and then they just slap a logo on it, change some colors, and call it a new product. And it's like, that's not a new product. That's been out for a while. You're just slapping a name on something. And that's part of it, too, is that nobody's coming up with new problems to solve. I think there was maybe one product that we had there that was kind of patented ourselves. But that was it. I was like, out of these several hundred products, maybe, only one of them's in.
The rest of it weren't even theirs.
Yeah, it's all just,
Slapped a logo on something that they bought from somebody else.
Yep.
That's not innovation. That's not.
Yeah, that's not
Doing
being part of.
something great.
Yeah,
That's
that's not
not-
being part of something bigger. That's not changing the world for anybody,
No.
and that's really what innovation is. I just saw a Saint Bernard drive by. Like, not the dog was driving the car, but there was a beautiful Saint Bernard, and I
I was
got
gonna
like,
say, you
puppy.
saw a Saint Bernard
That
driving.
would be really cool.
What a time to be alive, guys. No, it was a beautiful dog, and I just got super like excited because I like dogs. But yeah. Anyway.
So yeah, that's the Sea Lady. It's about how our dreams can drag us down into
Yeah.
something that's self-destructive.
Yeah.
Because we fail to take care of our everyday business of life. I don't know that I agree with Wells saying that it's a bad thing. I kind of
Yeah.
like my dreams better than my real life. So.
Yeah. I think dreams give us like, they help us develop goals and things too. I definitely think that's, having an imagination is what gives you goals to strive for. It makes you an innovative person and makes you want to do bigger and better things.
Yeah, as long as you still make supper and do the laundry
Yeah.
and hold the laundry.
Yeah, as long as the basic needs are taken care of.
Yeah, there's a balance to maintain. Like an individual needs their dreams.
Yeah.
But not to the point where, you know, bills aren't getting paid, they don't have a roof over their head, or they forget to eat.
Yeah.
You know, basic needs like that. There's a balance between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least that's what I've gotten from that, as far as the mermaid was a moral lesson that you were talking about. That's what I was getting.
Anything else you read?
While I wrapped up the week starting a book called, I remember this title every time, something like The Southern Book Club's Guide to Vampire Slaying.
Yeah.
I forget the author. But not very far into it. It's
Okay.
Buddy Read with Samantha again. And it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's good.
Awesome.
It's not that disturbing. Well, there's some kind of terrifying scenes in it. This whole woman eating a rat.
Yeah. I don't mind those things. For some reason, those things don't bother me. But I know it's a fiction. Like, I'm sure somebody out there does that kind of crap. But for the most part, it doesn't bother me.
It's not really bothering me, but
Yeah.
it kind of gets to me right now because I'm dealing with my mother-in-law who's really old and not taking care of herself, and
Yeah.
my own mother who had to go into memory care because she's having problems and getting angry with people and stuff, and so it is, you know, a little hard to read about old people.
Yeah, being weird
losing
like
it.
that. Yeah. No, I can understand that being a little touchy.
Yeah, but that's not a big deal. It's an awesome movie. So
Good.
it's really fun.
Good, good.
Okay, so you're next.
All right, what have I been reading? Well, right now I'm working through the complete works of H.P. Lovecraft. I kind of started it, got to like 60% through the ebook that I had, and then I had to like stop because I was catching up on all the stuff for Telltale. So I picked it up again. I just finished reading Wizard of Earthsea, which is Ursula K. Le Guin's high fantasy. It's really, really good.
Video
Really
coming?
fast read. Yep, video coming. It is a really fast read. It's under 200 pages. I really enjoy it. This is actually my second read-through of it. I had read it in high school. It was recommended to me by my grandparents' pastor, so that was a really enjoyable read. So yeah, I just finished, like I got to like Pickman's Model. I just finished reading also a video coming of that one. I finished the Cats of Ulthar, or however you say it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to say it either. And then I'm through like the Dreamers something. It's a longer of his short stories that kind of is like in the dream world, and it culminates like the Cats of Ulthar, and it like brings in like basically his whole mythos is brought into this one story, which I thought it's really, really nicely done, very clever. I like it. I enjoyed it a lot. I still have about an hour and a half reading in that particular story to go because it's one of his longer ones, but I'm pretty excited about it, so I'm enjoying those.
That's something I just realized thinking about it, because Samantha was wanting to read horror. That's how we got on the Southern Book Club. When it comes to the horror genre, all I've read, really, you know, when you don't consider all the horror movies, all I've read is Poe and Lovecraft. I haven't read anything
Yeah,
else.
they are pretty much like the spot on. They are the epitome of horror when you think about it. But yes, we should get into some Stephen King for your sake.
Stephen King, Dean Koontz, I'm going to be reading one of those soon. Bram Stoker.
Yeah.
I did read Lair of the White Worm a couple of years ago. I never read that one.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I've never read Dracula.
Yeah.
I gotta read Dracula.
Oh yeah, you should. It's a good book.
It's good stuff. Good stuff.
It's like the original horror found footage
Yeah.
fiction.
That's kind of what kind of like Call of Cthulhu when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of done similarly, where it's like he's finding the documentation of such things, and then shit hits the fan.
Yeah. But a lot of others, like, we recently read Hodgson. I only read a couple of his short stories before that,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of his stuff I need to read.
I got the complete tales of Carnacki the Ghostfinder.
I haven't read any.
Great character.
Yeah.
I haven't read any of the Karnacki stories. I want to read those.
That's good.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
You know, there's so many great horror writers.
Yeah.
Robert Bloch. I want to read Psycho. I've never read Psycho.
Yeah.
I read that one too.
Yep, it's good.
The book is strange, but I can understand why Hitchcock.
It's called
felt
Psycho.
it was,
How can you not expect it to be strange?
That's very true. Well, I mean, compared to the movie, it's a little bit odd. Like, there's certain things that Hitchcock altered, and when I look back on it, the film is like so iconic compared to the book. And it's like the movie clearly overshadows the book,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like
It's hard to get a copy. Well, you can get e-books of everything.
Yeah.
The actual copy of the book that hasn't been in print.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody needs to do a really nice edition. I never read The Exorcist. Got a copy now.
Yeah. That sounds like a good one. I haven't read that one either. I haven't even seen the movie The Exorcist.
So much great horror that I've been missing.
I know, especially like this cosmic horror stuff. Like I've read Call of Cthulhu. I've been involved in it for in the games
Yeah.
when I was in college. But now that I'm reading it, I have so much more appreciation for Lovecraft and his writing style.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic. So I'm really enjoying it. I didn't know that I was a person who liked horror even, because I always avoided it. I was raised very like conservative Christian. So like that stuff just didn't occur to me to read. It's not like I wasn't allowed to. It's just not the kind of stuff that I thought about trying.
I think a lot of people that love horror as adults
Yeah.
weren't allowed to. Because they were into conservative Christian.
Yeah. It's just never occurred to me to read those things because I liked fantasy a lot. So I was like into high fantasy things like, Ursula K. Le Guin was one of my first introductions to high fantasy.
Yeah.
Harry Potter was one of those. Charlie Bone series was another one that was high fantasy that I really enjoyed. Kind of like modern fantasy actually when you think about it. But like those were the things that I was raised on, and I really stuck with those because I enjoyed those. And like all my Garth Nicks, love me my Garth Nicks.
You were gonna say.
Well, I was just gonna say that I was actually raised on horror from a very early age,
Wow.
and also that I love horror even more as an adult because my my tastes have expanded. I didn't actually get into reading horror until I think it was like until about high school, because that's about when I picked up Dracula and first read that one.
Yeah.
But my parents raised me on the Universal horror movie monsters. So
Yeah.
so the horror movies were like they were like my best friends. Like I wasn't really scared about them, but I loved the atmosphere, I loved the acting, the storylines, and everything.
Those nice like B monster movie kind of feeling things. Love those.
Which in the 50s that you knew were not anywhere
Yeah.
near real.
It's like
have a huge tarantula
it's like,
walking.
Yeah.
it's charming. It's like I don't want to see something CGI that looks realistic. I want to see something where I can clearly see the
I want some
zipper
Ed
up the
Wood
back.
up in my life.
Godzilla.
Yeah. Ed Wood.
But yeah, as I got older, that's when I started getting into like reading horror a little bit more. Varieties of. I mean, I would actually dare say when I read Shutter Island, that book reads like a horror story. Even Shutter Island. Even though it's not.
Yeah.
It reads like
It
one.
does.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed
Because he
that dark
gets
stuff
that,
though.
he gets that kind of Lovecraftian, what's the word I'm looking for? Lovecraftian, like off the coast of Boston, New England, isolated island.
You get this like Arkham feel everywhere you go.
Well, the roots of horror is more psychological.
Yeah.
In the work of Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah. Yep.
It's Lovecraft that made them real monsters.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what I like about Lovecraft is the monsters are very real and they're very much a threat. There is no psychological mind game going on other than
It's like, nope, it's
wrap your head around this
It's a
truth.
giant, multi-eyed, multi-tentacled being from beyond the stars that's going to eat you without a second thought.
Yeah. Doesn't give a crap about you.
But there's also a place for the black cat or telltale.
Yeah.
It is mostly
It's
sci-fi.
very human. Yes. It's very human horror.
There isn't a real monster or a real ghost going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's all in the guy's head.
Yeah. The guy's just psychotic.
Yeah.
I do enjoy those too, though. I think that's why I enjoyed watching like American Psycho and Clockwork Orange. Is it does speak a lot to how do we formulate morality as a society, how fragile that is. I enjoy that because there is so much that leads on the social contract. Humans just don't think that way, or they want to ignore that.
Well, I mean, it is more scary, you know, reading a story about monsters that you know can't exist is
Yeah.
not really scary.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but it's not really scary. It's more scary to read about people that might exist.
Yeah.
Or did exist, like in the case of Psycho, it's based on
Yes.
mankind.
Yeah. Real.
And these people could be living next door to you.
It's
know,
this-
That's scary.
Yeah, it's like this truth is stranger than fiction kind of mentality. That's kind of why I think I like it so much. It's, I don't know, I just like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. So that's pretty much what I've been reading. I'm picking through some other pleasure reading too. Like about Joan I'm reading a history of Joan of Arc,
Oh, yeah.
which is really interesting. It's slow going, but I'm picking it up again this week just because I want to get through it. I had never fully understood the circumstances surrounding the Joan of Arc situation. Like I didn't know what started those wars or anything. Like French history is not something that I kind of delved into. And the particular book I'm reading, I can't remember who's writing it now, but it's on my Goodreads. And it's written in such plain language that I understand it better than reading a history book at this point. So I really enjoy that. So I'm picking through that one right now. I have another book I'm trying to get through called The Birth of Venus. And it's about a young lady who's fairly wealthy-ish merchant family, well-off merchant family takes in an artist in their home. And it's like right as the Medici family was starting to lose power in Italy and kind of going through that whole thing. So it's interesting right in the first chapter. It like just snags you. But I just have been putting it aside because I've been doing other things too. So I'm gonna try and delve back into those this week and see if I can get them more knocked out from those. But yeah, how about you? What are you reading?
When garden gnomes attack.
When Garden Gnomes Attack.
It's got that kind of satirical, like zombie hunter survival guide World War Z kind of vibe to it. It just so happens to be garden gnomes.
It's really funny because this started as Joe just like finding funny pictures of garden gnomes online and showing them to me to put in our yard. And now I think he's on a fixation because like
Well, I need to go back in time to explain this to you.
okay.
A long time ago, when I was a little kid, there was this TV show called Goosebumps.
Yes.
And there was an episode with these evil garden gnomes. And when it went dark, they came alive and caused havoc. And then when the lights came back on, it froze them. And that episode must have triggered something in my head. As a fascination
Yeah,
with those
recently
things.
it was really random. I was like talking about what kind of decor we should put in our garden, and the next thing you know, he's like obsessively finding all these pictures of garden gnomes. The next thing I know, he's reading this book, and I'm like, what is going on in your brain right now? Like this came out of nowhere.
In my defense, though, they're not like stereotypical garden gnomes. They're like many different designs. Like there's one that's dressed like a knight. There's actually
yeah.
a Nordic one, so there's one that looks like Thor or Odin or something. It's like it's actually pretty cool. Those are well
He really
designed.
likes those zombie ones. Like he's been showing me zombie ones that like crawl out of, look like they're crawling out of the ground and things like that. And we're just like goofing off because
Your neighbors are gonna love you.
I know we're the
Actually-
creepy black goth house on the street.
It's not
That
just
weird girl who always wears wigs coming out of it.
It's not just like garden gnomes though. There's actually one other thing that I think would look pretty cool in our yard. An iron jockey.
I don't want an iron jockey.
You know how they just stand there with the fist up in the air?
They have a lantern. They don't just stand there with a fist in the air.
I'm gonna guess you don't like it because they're racist.
Well, usually yes, they are, but also like
Well, I'm not
I
talking
feel
about
like
those.
they're
I'm just talking about the ones that are made out of like
short
solid
people.
wrought iron.
Oh.
Not painted.
I
Not
think they're
painted.
mean to short people. So I don't like them.
Okay.
I don't want like people-y looking things in my yard.
I take it you don't like the old song.
What?
The song Short People?
Oh yeah, short people have no reason to
How
like
that
them.
made
I
it
am
to
a short
the-
person.
To the radio in the 70s.
I have to climb on my counters to get into my cabinets.
You're fine.
I know, but I feel shorter than I am, especially compared to this guy. He's a big, gangly monster.
Well, I'm not. Well, you're not short. I'm too tall for this.
No. You're fine. You're useful as a tall person. Like, I can get stuff out of the cabinets using you. It's the only reason I married him.
You heard it here, folks.
It's recorded. It's on the internet forever now. Yeah. So, yeah. Anything else you're reading, kind of?
Not yet.
Okay. Cool.
I was thinking on that I would want to get the Weeping Angels.
Yes. From,
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Except
kinda
I want 'em when
want-
they come alive. Scare the crap out of the neighbors.
I feel like I should get like a Medusa statue with all these other statues around her to make it look like she like looked in a mirror or something.
That actually
Turned
would be
herself
pretty
to
cool.
stone or whatever. That's I think the
A
only like
Medusa
people
has
themed.
Stone kids laying on the grass.
Yep. Yep. Something like that. Scare the children. Keep the hoodlums away. But yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yep. All right. Anything else you want to chit chat about? I think that's it. That's all I got going.
This is an experiment. Let us know if you like this.
Yeah.
We'll keep doing it if you do. If you don't, we'll trash the idea.
Yeah.
And we'll just come here for coffee.
Just hang out. Hang out and enjoy ourselves. So, all right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
And it made it.